I was trying to put together a clip show for some of the key moments from our reaction video for Hell in a Cell last night, and I realized it's just we were bummed the whole night. Like, there were a few moments that we cracked wise or were in awe, but in reality, let me just give you the rundown of what this was, and I think it'll be more clear our reactions to WWE's latest offering. I think it was very clear last night that Hell in a Cell was just biding its time for fans to come back. Like, essentially, there was no purpose to this pay-per-view because the only thing that WWE is thinking about is what they're going to do when fans are back in attendance. And since this was the final pay-per-view that used the Thunderdome, with I think a few more weeks worth of those on TV coming up next, and I think that we're holding back everything. Holding back everything fun, holding everything entertaining, everything that you really want to see for when we're going to be able to get an actual crowd pop. And I don't hate that idea because, yeah, of course you want to get a crowd pop for some of the big things. Like if we want to see The Fiend return, if we want to see Becky Lynch return, if we want big names popping up places, we want to see a John Cena cameo, all those things got to happen with the crowd. Otherwise, it's just lost. And we talked about that. We talked about how by the end of the show, John and I just weren't feeling it. And it's largely because we have grown accustomed to the fake piped in noise. Like we've gone ear deaf, or ear deaf is a thing. We've gone deaf to it. We can't believe it anymore. It was okay to kind of let our minds be tricked as if like a fake laugh track in a sitcom. You can be tricked by it for a while, but eventually you start realizing that, well, that laugh track is really laughing hard at a joke I don't think us normal people would laugh at. And the same thing's happening here. The crowd reactions are different than what you expect them to be. And if rumors are true about the Thunderdome experience, which we haven't been able to do, they do the same thing there. They have a director in your ear while you're on camera telling you how to react because they want it to be uniform and they want to dictate how we're supposed to be feeling about these shows. And we know how we feel about them. And too many times they are at an impasse. they're at cross purposes with each other. They're not the same, and so it feels off. Let's do a quick rundown of last night. Skipping the fine but forgettable pre-show match, we had Bianca Belair versus Bayley. It was fine. It was good. There were a couple great spots. Couple fun things, fun new things that we've seen done with Bianca Belair's hair MacGuffin. We were talking about how, we're going to run out of ways to use that hair creatively on pay-per-views. And she used it like 3 different ways that I hadn't seen. Maybe she'd done it in NXT at some point. I didn't see it. I don't know. We had an impromptu bull rope match kind of thing going on when she tied her hair to the wrist of Bayley to keep her close. I don't know. It was fine. It was a bit brutal at times. It was good. It was okay. It felt a bit disjointed and clunky. It didn't flow very well. But I wouldn't say bad. Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. Also, a fine match. Nothing super out of the ordinary. Nothing blows your mind, but a good, solid match. So Alexa Bliss versus Shayna Baszler. This one was... A lot of people didn't like it. I didn't hate it. I'm glad that it was an actual wrestling match. Even if it had some weird supernatural gimmicks to it. It was a real match. I think Alexa does pull off the kind of Fiend-esque of, getting beat up but acting like it's not hurting her kind of thing. She pulls that off okay. I like this role for Alexa Bliss. I just don't think it's being done or written well enough. I thought the stuff where she was making Nia Jax mirror her and then slap Reginald across the face. I thought that was funny. I liked that bit of a twist to it. I'm glad that we didn't see that dumb doll at all. So honestly, I think that was a step up from what's been happening with Alexa Bliss lately. But still, most people didn't like it. And again, still, I don't think it was pay-per-view level worthy of a match. Also, it just really reminds me how much I miss The Fiend. I want to see The Fiend on TV. Why did we get him for one thing and then he was gone again? Where is he? What is going on? Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. It was a good match. I really enjoyed it. It was a fine match, but ended on a really weak DQ call. I heard one of the commentators I listened to say that, we've seen plenty of not non-disqualification matches, or I'm sorry, plenty of normal matches that are not no DQ, where they've slid their opponent across the announcer table or run them into the announcer table. But just lifting the flap of the announcer table to barely hit the face, that was enough to call a DQ. I don't know. I feel like it should have been a more blatant rule break, in my opinion. It seemed weak. It seemed like a weak call. But the match itself, entertaining. One I would say you'd be fine watching. We had then Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre, which became the main event because they decided to do Roman Reigns versus Rey Mysterio on Thursday, which I'm told went fine, I guess. Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre, also a good match. But again, this is where the steam really just kind of let out of us. We're just like, this isn't what we want. This doesn't feel like genuine wrestling anymore. The Thunderdome was a fantastic placeholder for real fans. But now that the world is opening up again, or at least America is opening up again, we feel it. We feel the need for fans again. We have run out of steam with the fake stuff. And you could feel it during this match. This match would have been so much better if we actually had a crowd reacting to the hits, reacting to the spots. But we didn't. We just had someone on a fader turning the crowd chatter, applause and boos and whatever up just slightly more, slightly less, slightly more, slightly less. Did they pipe in the fake "This is awesome" chant? I don't remember, but they do that too much too. It was good. It was fine. It set up for the fact that Drew McIntyre cannot challenge Bobby Lashley anymore, which I hope will lead to a Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar thing at SummerSlam, because I think that's what everybody wants to see with Bobby Lashley. Like, if you're gonna give Bobby Lashley the title, that should be the culmination of it. But overall, Hell in a Cell was just meh. Every match, every storyline feels stale. It feels like it's gone on far too long with nothing changing. Oh, I completely forgot there was a Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn match, and that should tell you what I think about it. Forgettable. Fine, but forgettable. And drawn out way too long. These things have been going on. All of these feuds, I feel like, have been going on so long without anything really story specific driving these feuds, other than I'm better, no, I'm better. I deserve it, no, I deserve it. That's always at the heart of the storylines, but there's usually more to it. It just, it feels like they're kicking a can down the road, hoping for better things when we get fans. And I'm hoping for that too. I'll be honest. We've taken a break from the podcast for our mandatory summer break for Love Thy Nerd. And it's been a relief because I have not watched Raw. I've watched a little bit of SmackDown because SmackDown's still pretty entertaining most of the time. Raw is just making me sad. I've been watching wrestling since 1999, regularly, and I've never been this depressed with what's happening on Raw. It's just so boring, repetitive, weird, but not a good kind of weird, just a cringy kind of weird. I don't like it. I'm also still really upset about a lot of the firings, especially Braun Strowman. What the heck? Why? Overall, I'm just bummed. It was a forgettable pay-per-view. It could have been our consensus between John and I and some other people watching. This could have been a Raw. This could have been an episode of the normal weekday show, and we would have believed it. It was not a pay-per-view level quality at all, other than the fact that they used the Hell in a Cell. But then again, they did that on SmackDown, like we said, when they moved one of the matches there. Roman Reigns not even in the building. I would have loved to see Roman Reigns somewhere on this pay-per-view. Didn't happen. No surprises, nothing fun. It just meh. I don't think you need any more of a recap than that. So bummed out. Hope it gets better. I'm looking forward to the next pay-per-view because there will be crowds in attendance. Money in the Bank. It helped WrestleMania. It really did. So maybe it'll help this. I'm going to cross my fingers. I'm going to hope for it. Hope along with me. That's the recap. Goodbye.